Hello and welcome to the Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Small Business Academy. This hour's session is Marketing and Pursuing Opportunities in the Government Marketplace. What you need to know. Just a quick reminder to our audience that we will have Q&A at the end of the session, and you are free to enter questions into the GoToWebinar platform at any time. At this time, I would like to turn over the session to our facilitator, Ben Blanc, Wisconsin Procurement Institute. Ben?
Good morning, Michael. Do you hear me?
You are cleared for takeoff, Ben.
Okay, and just waiting for, is Carol here? Michael?
I am here. I'm trying to share my screen.
Yep, you're the screen control, Carol. So I'll start when you're all set and show you screen.
Are you able to see my screen at the moment?
I think I do. I see a marketing and pursuing opportunity in the government marketplace. What you need to know?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. All right, perfect. So thank you, Carol. And you can go to the next slide, please. So good morning, everybody. My name is Ben Blanc. I'm a government product specialist for the Wisconsin Procurement Institute. WPI is an Apex accelerator. So we are funded by the Department of Defense and WEDC to help small business that may be interested in engaging into the federal, state, and local government marketplace. We serve the 72 counties in Wisconsin. We provide assistance through individual counseling, small group trainings, and conferences, larger conferences such as the governor marketplace in December. And our assistance is at no cost to you. Carol, can you go to the next screen, please? So our main office is in Milwaukee. We also have a full staff office in Camp Douglas. Those are the two gold stars there. But we do have also satellite offices where we have office hours in Madison, Eau Claire, Fond du Lac, Green Bay, La Crosse, Manitowoc, Oshkosh, and Superior. So we are covering the entire state. If you want to work with us, get into our website, wpi.org, and get into the Work with WPI and register as a client. There's a small questionnaire, and once you are registered, one of our counselors will contact you to schedule a initial meeting. Next slide, please. So as of now, I'm going to Carol, is that your presentation as of now, or do I have a couple more slides? I'm not sure.
It is mine.
It is yours. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So the very first thing we are going to look at today is, what does the government buy? So the government actually buys pretty much everything and anything. It ranges from janitorial services. They purchase cheese and other food, manufacturing that includes parts and items for anything from planes to ships, kitchen equipment, shelving, architect engineering services, professional services, which could include a range of items, including marketing people, doctors, nurses, all sorts of types of professionals. They do document destruction services. Childcare is actually a requirement in some areas. They do a lot of construction, also fuel delivery. So they pretty much so buy everything and anything. The challenge, though, is determining who is buying it, how are they buying it, and when are they buying what it is that you sell. And understand that Just because they buy everything and anything doesn't mean that they're buying all of these items all of the time. Sometimes the requirements are only occasional. So let's first of all look at the federal government. The federal government is a 750+ billion marketplace. As you can tell by that dollar amount, it is a very, very large market. The federal government has areas worldwide. It isn't just within the continental United States or the 50 United States. They have locations worldwide. It is sometimes a simple procurement, but many times it can be a very complex procurement. Let's say, for instance, we are starting to look at the next aircraft carrier. Well, that's a very complex buy. There is a benefit to businesses being small because the government is required to do small business set-asides in accordance with their regulations. Anything underneath the simplified acquisition threshold, known as the SAT, which is currently $250,000, is automatically reserved for small businesses. So it is good to be small. Again, they're buying manufacturing, construction, services, research and development products, anything and everything. What the federal government also has is a large group of federal prime contractors. Those federal prime contractors, if they have contracts over certain dollars thresholds, specifically $750,000 for goods and services, they have to have a small business subcontracting plan. So they are looking for small businesses to partner with them. So again, the federal primes have a large market. They are also servicing worldwide. It isn't quite as complex as being a prime contractor to being a subcontractor. However, there are flow downs of clauses of the rules from the federal prime contractor down to their subs. And again, there is that benefit of being small since they do have that small business subcontracting plan, and they are looking for diverse products and services. So then let's look at state and local governments. First of all, we will look at state governments. That is considered a medium-sized market, and their procurement is statewide. They are a little bit less complex than the federal government, but they're also different from the federal government. They have different regulations and certifications and processes. The federal government doesn't recognize the state certifications, and the state doesn't recognize the federal certifications. They basically look at products, services, and constructions for the most part. They have minimal manufacturing and research and development, and they have some of their diversity programs such as the Minority Business Enterprise, the Women Business Enterprise, and the Disabled Veteran Enterprises. So a little bit less of a market is the local government. It is, again, a smaller market. It is a smaller geographic area. It could be a county, it could be a city, it could be a local school district, it could be the police department, the fire department. It could also be something like the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District. They are less complex, and again, they are different from the federal and the state. They have their own regulations, certifications, and processes. They are generally looking for products, services, and construction for the most part, and they do have some diversity programs. So what should you know before you start your search to know who you want to do business with? The very first thing you want to do is to look at your North American Industry Classification System code, also known as NAICS codes. What it is that the government has to classify every procurement so that they can do a small business size standard associated with it. And each classification system is usually something like, it could be construction, it could be janitorial services, it could be medical services, it could be office administration type services. Each one has its own unique code, and then they each have their own size standard. The size standards for services are generally done by the number of employees you have in your business. the size standard for supplies is generally done by the number of employees you have. So you can also look at your product and service code, and that is available at the acquisition.gov website. And you can determine what code the federal government has determined for your product or service. Acquisition.gov is a wonderful website. It also includes all of the federal government procurement regulations, which is known as the Federal Acquisition Regulation, as well as all the agency supplemental regulations are located there as well. So you can look at the manual and determine what your product and service codes are that you want to sell to the government. So let's look at the federal government. First of all, you want to understand the SBA small business goals. Again, they have to set aside, all federal agencies, a minimum of 23% of prime contracts and subcontracts for small businesses, based on that table of size standards. 5% of prime and subcontracts are designated for women-owned small businesses. 13% of prime and subcontracts are designated for small disadvantaged businesses, including the 8A certified businesses. Now, this amount will be increasing to 15% in fiscal year 25, which will start October 1st of 2024. They also are required to have 3% of prime contracts and subcontracts for hub zone small businesses. Now, hub zone businesses are historically underutilized business zones, and they are geographic areas where they are trying to get more businesses. So they have a 3% goal for that. They also have a 3% of prime and subcontractors goal for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. Now, the Department of Veterans Affairs also has both a veteran and a service-disabled veteran business preference, and those are higher goals for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Large prime contractors also must negotiate these small business goals underneath their small business subcontracting plans. So here are a couple websites that you need to know if you are going to do business with the government. The first one is sam.gov. You need to register your business in sam.gov and maintain an active registration. It needs to be updated once a year in order to be awarded a federal government contract. Now, up at the top there, it does say the website is 100% free. You can register your business for free. Do not pay anyone money to register your business for you. If you need help with the registration process, please contact the Wisconsin Procurement Institute, WPI staff, and we will help you walk through it. So, again, the first thing you need to do is to register in SAM. The second thing you need is a Small Business Administration dynamic small business search profile. And that is what is in the lower right-hand corner there. You can see a list of businesses there, and this is their profiles. It only is a list of small businesses. Large businesses are not included in this database, and basically contracting officers will use this database to try and locate small businesses to actually set procurements aside for. So it's very important that you have a good profile on this particular website. The initial information is transferred when you register in SAM, but then you do need to go to the SBA site and update it and include a capabilities narrative and also keywords. Now, you're also going to want to do some market research to try and see when the government is buying what you sell and how often that they do it. And the best place to do that is at usaspending.gov. In this particular case, I did a search for the state of Wisconsin for fiscal year 2024. And this is what that they've actually pulled forward. And there's over 2 million items on here. Now, that doesn't mean that there was 2 million contracts, because sometimes there are task orders against contracts that are identified here. But that is a lot of spending being done within the state of Wisconsin. And you definitely want to go here to do some market research. Now, I want to talk briefly about locating opportunities. The first thing in the lower right-hand corner is sam.gov. Sam.gov is the website, not only that you register your business in, it is where the government posts all of their opportunities that are open market over $25,000. And you can go here and do some searching and find some opportunities that you may want to be able to bid on. Also, in the background, we have our Wisconsin Procurement Institute's bid matching service. And what our service does is it is a free service, and it goes out to thousands of different websites on a daily basis, including sam.gov, and looks for opportunities for businesses based on the keywords that they provide to us in the geographic area that they want searched. Also, subcontracting opportunities are available on the SBA's website, and we have that link there for you. And it starts with a directory of federal government prime contractors with subcontracting plans. All of those prime contractors need to find small businesses to work with to meet their goals on their subcontracting plans. And here is just a list. I did some Wisconsin prime contractors that might have some subcontracting opportunities. When you look at the list yourself, you will see that there are hundreds of them. And you can see on the left-hand side there that the numbers are like not in order. That's because all of those businesses had more than one opportunity there. So you can see that there are at least 282 different contracts listed here for prime contractors in the state of Wisconsin that might have subcontracting opportunities for businesses. Now, Ben, we are going to switch over to you, and you can take over on the state government.
Thank you, Carol. Let me just go back to my webcam. Okay, all right. Okay, so state government. Yes, Carol, yep, perfect. So the state of Wisconsin has a dedicated website that we'll go to, but the first step that you may want to take a look at is the State Bureau of Procurement website, especially because there is a contact list by commodities. So it's when you do your market research, it's always a good thing to potentially reach out to them as they have your commodity and see what currently they're looking for. Next slide, please. The opportunity for the state of Wisconsin will be into the eSupplier website, which there is a link on the bottom left, esupplier.wi.gov. First step is to create your own account. Carol mentioned sam.gov for the federal government. The WAMS ID information is slightly similar, not as cumbersome, so there's like 2 or 3 pages, but it's important because in some instances you need to be logged in order to bid. On many state opportunity, you can send an email with your RFP or RFQ, but in some, they ask you to directly log in into eSupplier, go into the solicitation and upload your documents and your proposal or your quote in the eSupplier website. So make sure you do set up an account, username and password, and also include all the NIGP code that your business has. NIGP code are the state version, basically, of the NAICS code that we mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. The state of Wisconsin has a supplier diversity program with 3 different supplier certification. As mentioned earlier, their certifications do not cross over. So if you are a certified women-owned small business by the SBA, that will only pertain to women-owned small business set aside by the federal government. In order to qualify for the state, you will have to obtain the WBE, Women Business Enterprise certification. The state of Wisconsin has 3, so WBE, DVB, Disabled Veteran Business, and MBE, Minority Business Enterprise. They all have different eligibility and processes. You can, if you belong to more than one, apply for them at the same time. Some are free, MBE and DVB. MBE is free. The DVB and WBE have a cost. Next slide, please. Another avenue for looking for opportunity is if you're looking specifically to work with the state of Wisconsin Department of Transportation, their opportunity will not be on the eSupplier system, but under the Wisconsin DOT website. And the project are listed into the first link. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation also has a separate certification process called the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. DBE, in order to be disadvantaged, you need to be socially and economically disadvantaged. Those definitions are provided into the CFR, so you have to look into that, to see if you qualify for socially disadvantaged and economically disadvantaged. Also, there are thresholds below that you need to be in order to qualify. And DBE, the DBE program has some set aside for DOT funded opportunity, both on the prime level and also on subcontracting level. Next slide, please. Now, as we drill down into, we went to the federal solicitation opportunities. We took a look at the state solicitation opportunities, and locally, there's also opportunities with counties, villages, town, universities, or others. A lot of them post their solicitation under VendorNet. So VendorNet used to be the state of Wisconsin system that was replaced by eSupplier. However, a lot of local agencies use VendorNet to post. When you are in the system, there's a couple of tabs that you want to be aware of. The first one is, you can see there's something called NIGP code. That's a lookup for your NIGP. So when you register into eSupplier, for example, not a bad thing to open VendorNet as well and look into the NIGP code and search them in order to add those. And then you do have 2 other tabs that are worth noticing here, the contract one and the bid one. The contract one will show you past or up-to-date contracts already used by some agencies. So that can be used for market research. And bids are the current opportunities. And we are here currently on the bids tab in this screenshot. And as you can see, we'll see things from agencies such as Portage County, the UW system, or some cities. So this is where you can look into for city and county opportunity. They sometimes have them on their own website, but usually VendorNet is going to be the way to find them easily. Next slide, please. So depending on what you purchase, you may do some additional work because they all have their own repository where you can do some market research in for federal government under one single website, USA Spending. You may have to look into their separate website to see what they purchased in the past. You may have to reach them out. They're all unique, they're all different. However, there's some link that we want to provide if you want to work with counties. The list of counties available. If you sell goods and services for law enforcement, you can find the Sheriff, Police, Fire, and Rescue Department under the usacops.com/WI. If you are interested in working with school district, every school district has their own system, so you may have to reach them out. You can find the directory under the Department of Public Instruction. And the last one is Demenstar. Demenstar is also a good complement to VendorNet because a lot of counties and cities and some other agencies in Wisconsin use Demenstar to post their solicitation, but also for you to bid on. So it's I would suggest if you're going to do business with local agency in Wisconsin to use that link in particular, the one associated with the Wisconsin Association of Procurement Professional, WAPP. Register under that using that link. If you just go to Demenstar without going under the WAPP link, you will be able to register to Demenstar and you will be able to access solicitation for free for 3 entities and 3 entities only. Everything else you would have to pay for. If you register under the WAPP link, every Wisconsin solicitation for those agencies in Demenstar will be available to you at no cost. Next slide, please. So other local agencies, so City of Milwaukee have their own purchasing website. City of and also you can under City of Milwaukee look under the award and tabulation, for example, for past awards. So that's a great way to do market research. The City of Madison has their own website as well. In general, if you want to look for purchasing organization for a particular city, use Google the city with bids, purchasing, or procurement to find their link. Again, they may have a dedicated website, or they may send you to Demenstar, for example, as sometimes they solely use that system. Next slide, please. And marketing material, Carol, I think I turn it back to you.
We do. I'm going to take over now, and we're going to talk about some marketing materials next. So the very first thing you're going to want to do if you want to do business with the government is to develop a targeted capability statement. We have 2 of them here for you to see. Capability statements is what we like to say your business card on steroids. It kind of takes the information from your business card and possibly some additional information from your website, and it puts it into a single page document that is easy to read, good to look at, and provides the reader with a snapshot of your business. It should include information about your business, your NAICS codes, your socioeconomic categories that you meet, such as small business, women-owned, small business, minority. It should have any specific licenses or accomplishments. It should give some differentiators as to why you might stand out over your competition. So these are some samples here, and if you want some help in developing a capability statement, contact WPI staff members and we would be more than happy to work with you on it. We also would review draft copies and help you possibly fine tune it and make some suggestions to make it better. Depending upon the type of business you are, you may need multiple capability statements. You might want one for school districts and one for the federal government, let's say, because your marketing is slightly different to those two groups of people. You also want to develop a strong targeted website. We have a couple of them on here. You can see on the top left-hand side that the National Business Furniture actually has a government tab. Underneath that government tab, if they have nationwide contracts, there would be information on that. There would be their SAM UEI number, their cage code would be listed there. Their socioeconomic certifications would be listed there. You always want to have a really, really good developed website that reflects what it is you want to sell, not only to the government, but to your commercial customers as well. Basically, in my opinion, and I'm, as you can see, I'm not real young, websites today are yesterday's full page, yellow page ads. It used to be we would go into the yellow pages and you'd see those businesses with the full page advertisement. Now people use the internet, they go to your website, they want to learn about your business. This is how you can tell people more about your business. So you also want to have a targeted business card. And it should clearly state what your business does, and you want to use a tagline if necessary. If your business is the ABC company, it doesn't tell them anything. If it is the ABC construction company, then you can tell that, yes, it is a construction company. You want complete contact information, including your street address, telephone, and email. You want those NAICS codes, the NIGP codes, your SAM UEI, your cage code on it. Your website address should be listed. You want your small business designations, such as your hub zone, service disabled, veteran-owned small business, woman-owned small business. Any kind of quality level, ITAR or other technical and professional certifications of value to market you want on the card. You want it professional in appearance. You want to include your logo. You want a light colored background and non-glossy paper. And the reason why you want it light colored is so that the person you give it to can write notes on the card. If it's glossy or it's dark, they cannot utilize it to put notes on. You also want to make sure that if you have a recent award, that it is recognizable by the general public. We actually, at one of our live events, we had everyone stand up and they exchanged business cards with their neighbor. And we started reading off all of this information, and we said, if your card does not have this, sit down. And you would be surprised how many people were sitting down without the basic information that should be on a business card. So take a minute, look at your business card, make sure that it has all the complete information you need on it, so that when you do hand it to someone, that it is useful to them. We also want to have you develop a prepared verbal introduction of your business. It is also known as an elevator speech or an elevator pitch. It should be short and tight, introductory statement about your business that goes for about 30 seconds or so. It should include who you are, what you do. You want to keep it business-like. You want to try it, and then you want to refine it. You want to try it again, and you want to refine it until you feel that it is just right. A good example would be, good afternoon. My name is Red Green, president of the Green Barge Company based in Jacksonville, Florida. Our company specializes in shoreline cleanup and reconstruction. So that tells someone exactly about your business, who you are, name of your business, where you're located, and what you do. So when you have time, work on your elevator speech. So here are some last words of advice. First of all, before you approach any customer, you want to do your homework. You want to understand your customer and their needs. Now, this applies whether or not you're actually doing government contracting or even some of your commercial customers. You want to know, what do they actually need? Understand that your market may not just be local. You may be able to market to the state, you may be able to market to the federal government, it might be those law enforcement entities, it could be school districts. Try and figure out who is actually buying what it is that you have available to sell. You also need to get out there and schmooze. Sometimes those contract opportunities, some of the small buys, are not posted anywhere for you to see. It is basically done with a purchase card or a government credit card, and they have the authority to make small buys to whoever that they find that can meet their needs. So you want to get out there and actually meet some of these government entities and meet these potential customers. You want to learn as much as you can to compete and succeed. You need to have patience. We talk to many businesses that sometimes it takes them 2 to 3 years before they actually get their first government contract. So understand, you might need to be patient. You have to be willing to share. You have to be willing to partner. And if you need any help, please contact WPI, and our staff would be more than happy to help you walk through any of the processes, any of the certifications, any of the registrations. Also, if by chance you find opportunities and you are new to government contracting and you're looking at a 20 or 30 page or maybe even a 60-page document and it feels very overwhelming, contact us and we will sit down and we'll go through it with you. And we will help you understand what it is that they're going to award, what it is that they're looking for, what are they going to evaluate on. Those are all things we are able to help you with. So reach out to us. And with that, I'm going to put our contact information back up here, Ben. And it gives you our email addresses and our mobile phones. And I think we can open it up now to questions. I'm not exactly sure who is seeing those questions, but if we do have any questions, I think we are ready for them.
Perfect. Carol, Ben, thank you for presenting. Before we launch into the questions, Ben, one of our attendees, wanted to wish you a good morning. I believe this is pointed at the state websites. They understand about SAM.gov, but could you reiterate the state websites that you went over for the audience?
Yes, so the state website I believe the one that they're talking about is eSupplier. So eSupplier is the website for the state of Wisconsin that would have the opportunities, except the one for WisDOT, which was another website that I mentioned after that. But for the state of Wisconsin, opportunity will be under the eSupplier website. You can look into them, and for most of them, you can bid without having a registration, but it's recommended to register in eSupplier and to get a WAMS, WMS, a WAMS user ID and password.
And a follow-up question to that. How do I register in VendorNet? It looks like I have to be an agency or a municipality.
No, VendorNet does not need a registration. You can access the basically you don't need to register as a vendor. You just go to the bids and you can look into and download the bids and the instructions, and they will lead you to how to submit the bids. Most of them directly by email. Some use Demand Star or a dedicated website such as the one for UW.
Okay, and the capabilities statement example was very popular. So just so the audience is aware, slides presentation can be made available afterward along with all the other Small Business Academy information. Next question. Is there a cost associated with obtaining support or feedback for the capabilities statement? Would you recommend that a nonprofit have a capabilities statement?
I can take that one. First of all of our review and all of our services that I have mentioned are provided to our clients free of charge. You just register as a client and we help you as much as we possibly can. Our services are actually provided as a nonprofit organization, and we are funded in part through the Department of Defense and WEDC. So the second part of that question, Michael, I'm sorry, would you repeat that, please?
Would you recommend that a nonprofit have a capabilities statement?
Sure. I would say yes. I mean, it's definitely a marketing tool. A lot of nonprofits have some type of a brochure or flyer already, so that information you could turn into a single page document and have it ready to go. Understand that underneath the federal government, a nonprofit organization is considered other than small. So even though your nonprofit may not be a large business, it is not a small business. So it is considered other than small, and it would be grouped into the large business category as far as the federal government goes. But I would recommend them having a capability statement as well.
Okay. As a new business, how do we develop a capabilities statement?
Okay, as a brand new business that has no past experience, you would be putting information on there on your current capabilities, what it is your business is doing, and you would also possibly, if you've been, let's say for instance, you were a janitor for another company and you started your own janitorial services. Well, you can still say that you have all those years of experience, even though your business is brand new. Because if you've had experience from other areas where you have worked, you can actually include that on your capability statement. But understand also that new businesses at any time frame have a harder time getting government contracts. Brand new businesses are considered more of a risk for any level of government to actually award a contract to you. It isn't that you can't get them awarded, it isn't that you can't do it, but you generally have to somehow prove and have documentation that you're capable of doing whatever it is that you are going to be contracted for.
Okay. This question may be a multi-part answer. Is it best practice to work with one WPI Apex accelerator, or can one work with multiple WPI Apex accelerators?
Okay, first of all, WPI is the state of Wisconsin's Apex accelerators. So we covered the entire state. So basically, we have a number of counselors, and some of our counselors do have specific expertise. So if by chance you came to me and you said you wanted to do some information about cybersecurity, that is not my strongest area. So I would refer you to one of my coworkers and they would help you. So at times you could be working with multiple counselors here at Wisconsin Procurement Institute, but we do cover the whole state and all of us are combined into the one Apex accelerator.
Okay, can you please explain NAICS codes and NIGP codes?
Ben, do you want to take that one?
Sure. They're similar but different. So the next code is the North America Industry Classification System Code, and it's set up through, I don't think we have the link, but the census slash, so uscensus.gov/NAICS is where you would find them. And those are basically, different business categories, whatever you within services. The NIGP code is the same idea, except they provide them those commodities in a slightly different way. And the NAICS code are solely used for, or mostly used for federal contract. The NIGP code are for states. So not just the state of Wisconsin, every state uses the NIGP code. But in essence, they're the same thing. They're going to determine, you have to provide an NIGP code to let those buyers know what you sell. And they can be similar, but there can be some variation, and you do not need to, you may not have just one single NAICS code or one single NIGP code. It all depends on what your business is selling.
I am a new small business with 3 or 4 clients right now. How can I best start working with the government right now?
That can happen. Again, without knowing what it is you are selling, you might want to look at some subcontracting opportunities and see if you can come in as a subcontractor to a prime contractor. You also want to start looking for those opportunities. We can set you up with our free bid matching service that would go out and look for opportunities for you. And then once you find something that you're capable of doing, you can prepare a response to the solicitation. If you are really a small business, at times you may need to partner with another business and go in together so that you can do all the work, because sometimes the government's jobs are fairly large. Sometimes they're manageable and they're small, but many times they can be large. So those are some ways of being able to get right into the government. Ben, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not necessarily. And I think we mentioned that earlier, is for many businesses, you're working with the government is certainly going to come after working, with commercial businesses or with individual. It's certainly what we tend to say the icing on the cake. You need to, or you're certainly not going to just work with the government. So if you're a brand new business, and unless again you're manufacturing submarines or aircraft carrier, chances are you're going to work with commercial or with individual first, and building your business like that, and still looking into the government, but probably as a second market.
This is probably our last question. This may be a stretch, but my current NAICS code for one of my established businesses is 446120. I am transitioning into manufacturing space. Would you suggest changing the NAICS code? Are there opportunities working with the government in this area?
Okay, I think I can grab that one. First of all, understand that even though there are NAICS codes for wholesale and retail, and I believe the 4.4 is possibly a wholesale without looking at it, the 4.5 series, I believe, are retails. When the government instructs how to do a procurement for their contracting officers, they actually instruct them not to use wholesale codes and not to use retail codes. They are instructed to go back to the manufacturing code for that item. I know that because I used to be a contracting officer, and we were told not to use wholesale codes, not to use retails, go back directly into the manufacturing codes. And again, just as Ben had said earlier, you can have multiple codes. So you could put in those manufacturing codes in addition to the wholesale and the retail codes, but however, realize that when the government is actually going to be classifying a procurement, they will go back to the manufacturing codes. So I would suggest including them all.
Okay, thank you, Carol and Ben, for presenting for our audience this morning. That's about all the time we have for questions. Any last words for our audience before we go?
I just want to add on to what Ben had mentioned about government contracting being the icing on the cake. You basically need a cake, which is your commercial customer base. The icing is all of your government contracts. It can be really thin if you don't do too much government contracting, or it can get really thick, and it can be very robust and be thick. But always keep in mind that you want to have a balance of both, because even though the government is a wonderful customer to have, they pay timely, they are good customers, they are usually not a loyal customer. And the reason being is that they are spending all of our taxpayers' dollars. And with that, especially in the federal government, they have the Competition Contracting Act, and they have to be fair to all contractors that are trying to work with them. So many times businesses might think that if they have a government contract that's for 5 years, that they'll just have it for years and years and years, and that may not be true. So never just rely on government contracts for your business to succeed.